A cop is now being blasted online for driving his car through a mob of violent protesters who were attacking him, and a suburban couple has found themselves at the center of outrage for defending their home with their legally owned guns. Oh, but see, you misunderstand. See, to the left, the rioters are the real sympathetic victims here. Because so what if they're a bunch of violent animals who've spent the better part of a month burning cities and destroying other people's lives? Because after all, that's exactly what the left wants. A video went viral today showing an uppity-dressed suburban couple standing in front of their St. Louis mansion with their firearms as a group of protesters marched past them in the streets screaming. Here's the headline, of course, blaming these rich white people for brandishing guns at a bunch of strangers who were, of course, doing nothing but marching to the governor's house to demand justice. But what that doesn't tell you is that these sweet, peaceful protesters was actually a 500 or so person horde that had violently broken through a gate and was trespassing through a private neighborhood, which, given that the country has been on fire for the past several weeks, would be enough to make any homeowner just a little bit nervous. But while there's been plenty of sympathy to go around for violent rioters and looters, there's none left for a frightened couple worried about their home, because they're wealthy and white, so screw them. So let's just skip over to Detroit, where a police officer is now being trashed online for gunning it through a group of protesters with his car. Here's that headline. And of course, what that doesn't tell you is that the mob had surrounded the vehicle and was jumping on the hood when the officer hit the gas pedal trying to get away. Because God only knows what would have happened if he had just stayed put. But to the left, the rioters were not wrong for bashing this man's car and acting like animals in a gutter. Oh no, it's the cop's fault for trying to get away and knocking some people off his hood. So just so you know, in case you've somehow missed it already, this is exactly what the violent left wants. It is clearer than a cloudless day in June. They genuinely, unapologetically think that rioters should be able to burn down cities, loot stores, vandalize public property, take over entire city blocks, smash cop cars, yank people out of their private vehicles and beat them in the streets, break into private homes, all with absolutely no consequences. And they expect you to take it. Hit that gas pedal when your car is being swarmed by a violent mob and somehow you're the bad guy. How dare you stand outside your own home with your firearm to defend your property from a pitchfork brigade that spent the last month looting and burning anything they can get their hands on with absolutely no regard for human life. Why do you think the left wants to gut the Second Amendment so badly? Why they want to tax you to the hilt to pay for all their programs, why they think your money and your work is their private slush fund. Because they do not believe your life is your own. Your property is not your own. Your safety is not your own. Your business, your freedom, your family, your security is not your own. You exist at the mercy of their mob rule. You do what the mob says when the mob says it, and if they want to come burn down your home or loot your store or tear apart your life, you get to bow down and take it. If the mob decides you're a racist, you have to apologize for it. If the mob decides you owe someone something, you have to cough it up. If the mob decides that you're a fascist, they can assault you in broad daylight, and that is perfectly acceptable. Don't you dare fight back. And as much as the left loves to call themselves progressives, this theory is not new. It's actually very old, and it has a name. It's called communism. It's the propagation of class warfare with the exact purpose of redistributing everything to everyone, regardless of how hard you work and at the expense of your freedom. So far, that model has killed 100 million people worldwide. And the left has no problem adding more bodies to the pile, including yours. That is not an unintended consequence. It's the goal. And that's your Reality Check, America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, that you like us on Facebook and Twitter. And stay sane out there.